Welcome to GydeBites. I'm your host, Prasanna Vaidya. Building an AI product is no longer the hard part. It's quite easy these days because the code is generated by coding assistants. The PRDs are generated by AI agents, and so on and so forth. But the proving its value is still very hard. Organizations are embedding AI into their products, their workflows, their customer experiences at an unprecedented pace. So everyone is embedding AI into their workflows. Everyone is doing API calls, AI calls for making their product smart, intelligent, and so on. But when the leadership asks, what's the return on this investment? Many teams struggle to provide a concrete and clear answer to this. So how should organizations measure success of their AI initiatives, and what separates these initiatives that create lasting or concurrent business value from those that don't? To explore these, I am joined by Mike Akeroyd, who is SVP of AI and Product Management at Masa. He has over 20 years of experience in product leadership. He has driven development and growth of digital products across healthcare, fintech, e-commerce, and more. He has also led large scale initiatives spanning AI, machine learning, personalization, and digital transformation. Mike, welcome to GydeBites. I am so grateful to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, Mike. So let's get it rolling straight away. Why do you think so many AI product investments fail to show clear business value or ROI?
Well, I think it's because they get funded as an experiment, but then you try to judge them as an investment. And honestly, it's just because AI is so powerful. Think about how product managers operated, 5-10 years ago. How did they do this? So if you wanted to work on a product or a project, you need to build a PowerPoint deck, write a doc, build a business case, maybe do some wireframes, some concept mocks, approach your leadership, go to a committee, get an investment to build that prototype. Now you can skip all of that right there and go right to the prototype. And it's about having something cool to show. So, for example, that if you wanted to build a CS chatbot several years ago, you need to go out there and say, this is what we want to be able to do. We're going to build this chatbot to reduce AHT because it's handling some of the workload up front. Then from there, we're able to do more efficient tasks on the back end with those CS agents. Whatever that value is, you're defining that in the business case. Now you're just starting with, hey, we have our knowledge base, embedding that into an LLM. Look how cool this is. Can we start expanding on that? And that's not the right approach. So I think that it's just really not connecting the value of what you're trying to build. You're just starting from a demo and expanding there.
Wow, that's an interesting perspective because for the last 2.5 years, what has been very exciting is the demos are always great, right? I mean, the demos demos are like fascinating. Everyone is wowed and so on. Mike, but then what should leaders actually measure before investing in an AI initiative?
Well, I think it's still trying to understand your business from the ground. So it's not just your upstream all the way down to your downstream metrics. It's really just trying to understand what those technical details are. So your costs, your revenue, your volume, your variability of a certain metric, your risks. I know that seems very high level, but let me try to ground this a bit. So at Amazon, one of the things that I was working on was the address book. We knew that if a customer came in, typed in an address, and we tried to match that to a source of truth. If there was an error there, we would pop up a UX, and if the customer said no to our recommendation, we knew what the delivery failure rate would be. If they accepted it, we knew what the delivery failure rate would be for that. We know that it would be better. So it's not just about the delivery failure rate, though. It's what is the cost of a delivery failure? So we know that, okay, that is a reattempt cost. That is the cost of a concession. That's the cost of a third party additional fee. So all those things start tying together. And if I introduce a machine learning model to this and I know that this improves this rate right here. I could then tie that to delivery success was this. Now it's this. And now I know that the value that I'm creating is that delta by introducing this machine learning model to this. So tying it all the way down to a cost, a volume, a risk, variability, that is how you need to start understanding what those metrics are in your business before you start building the AI model.
Wow, wow, that's an insightful way to look at it, because every time what's happening is because the demos look good, because LLMs can do so much. People typically start with what's easy and what's low hanging, and then they sort of realize that, hey, but this is going to take so many tokens, that is the budget, and then we don't know what's the value it's going to make.
Absolutely.
So, just doubling down on this. So, which AI metrics matter and which are basically misleading? What's your take on that?
Well, maybe I'll start with misleading because I think that's probably the easiest one to do right there. And I'm wondering if that's time saved or hours saved, because I see that quoted a lot that, like, okay, well, we're doing this, we can improve a process and time saved. Like, okay, but you need to anchor that to something else. So that's probably the false metric. In terms of broader metrics, maybe it's again upstream to downstream, whether you're taking a look at the model metrics, the product metrics, and then the business outcome. So again, trying to ground this to make sure everyone kind of understands this a little bit better, that at my last company, I wanted to build something to be able to help customers understand what is driving their portfolio. It was a investment trading brokerage. And what we did was we took market data, news data, technical analysis, indicators, and then be able to summarize, why did a stock move yesterday? Pretty cool. You can use AI to do that. But then from there, customers own multiple stocks. How do you then summarize that, aggregate it across your entire portfolio? All right. From a model perspective, I need to look at accuracy, function calls, what's the token cost, what is the prompts that I'm injecting in all of this. So those are great metrics to track, but they don't drive value. The next one would be engagement, product metrics. This is getting closer, but it still doesn't really drive value because there's still token costs associated with this. So this would be how many times people are engaging in this, almost DAOs over MAUs associated with that particular product feature. Are they going into L1, L2, and L3 levels, really, really engaging within this product? What's the frequency, the duration? But really what matters is that, are people retaining in my app longer because they now have this feature? Are they coming back more often? Are they trading more? Are they investing more in our platform because of this? So that kind of gets down to needing to understand almost A/B testing, rolling this out in sequence to be able to see that, is this driving measurable impact, this new AI-based feature?
Wow. Yeah, makes sense. And how do you think, so you touch upon it a little bit, but how do you think organizations can actually quantify these kind of business impact? So, for example, taking your example that you introduced a feature to summarize the stock movements and so on, how do you then know that because of this feature, people are engaging more with my app, or people are investing more with my app and so on?
Yeah, and what's great about this is that this is well-worn path right here. That this is not new. That generative AI is new, and that's what people talk and explain, or they say that this is what AI is. AI is the broader umbrella. Gen AI is just a component of that. You have machine learning also on the other side. Supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement learning existed for a long period of time. And within there, you need to think about, how do I have a baseline or a counterfactual? So maybe you're even building your own forecast model to be able to say, what would happen had I not done this? Or it's your traditional A/B test. What is happening if I do this versus that? And maybe to get out of the trap of the time saved or the hour saved, you know, maybe this is still, you're introducing an additional component. So for example, that you have a marketing team, they're going out there, they're building creative manually, doing manual paid search, meta ads, etc. They're doing the collateral, copy, everything. So now you can use AI to do this. Pretty cool. You can get a pipeline going. Now you can also use AI to be able to create multiple different versions. Well, that's time saved. You're creating more throughput, but what is it actually driving? My recommendation would be, hey, well, this is where you introduce or use AI to create a machine learning model, write the code for that, for reinforcement learning. So like a contextual bandit, so that you're using AI to create the copy, create the image, the CTA, and now you're using a reinforcement learning algorithm created by Gen AI to then be able to test what is the impact. Is my cost per lead going down? Is my marketing ROI going up? You'll be able to do this way more effectively. So you're injecting this additional component within there so you can measure your entire effectiveness of your workflow.
Yeah, yeah, and I think most of us are sort of are at a stage where we are saying that, hey, with AI, I can write code faster because it generates code very easily. But we are not a stage where, I mean, there might be very few companies who are at a stage where they are saying that, okay, the code generation was with AI. Now the monetization or number of app downloads, can we track that, and can we say that, hey, how do we improve that using AI as
How do
well?
you prove it? How do you tie it? Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So Mike, is there any strong AI ROI framework of sorts that you can walk us through? Does something like this exist?
I don't know if it really exists, but I'm sure this is just kind of like my basic logic of how I would think through this. And maybe this is how I'm kind of framing this throughout this entire conversation, is that a couple of different layers. Start from the basics right there. It's not, I want to be able to build an AI model, or what can I use AI for? It's, how am I solving a business problem or a customer problem? So start with the objective. What outcome are we improving? Then from there, it goes down to, what is that metric definition? What is the baseline? What does it cost to do today? What does it cost to produce today? What are we producing today? What's that level? Then from there, it's the intervention. What is AI doing as a part of this flow? What is it changing for that baseline? So we know that that's right there. And then, of course, that leads it very easily to measurement. I know that AI caused this change, and you need to be able to define that. And then from there is just calculating the difference between the two, is baseline versus this new AI improved workflow. That right there is your lift. So business objective was the baseline, the intervention, how do you measure it, and then the value capture.
That's super awesome. And I think it will be very helpful for our audience to put it in a sort of playbook or a framework. It's always easier to start discussions or initiatives with this frame of reference in your mind, so that you always know where we are going into, what we are trying to improve, and so on and so forth. Mike, let's move on to the next segment, which is, we always ask our guests to leave one piece of advice, a practical advice for our listeners. What would you like to share?
Maybe it's start smaller and don't focus on what is exciting in terms of a demo, because that's a sign that's a trap right from the get-go. Focus on what is a high volume, expensive, or frustrating workflow or process. Start there. So you're not necessarily asking, where can we use AI? It's really about, what is my business problem, or what sucks about my day-to-day operations, and how can we use AI to improve that?
Sure. Before we wrap up, there is a short rapid fire round. Just share first thing that comes to your mind. Should we go?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So one misconception executives have about ROI of AI initiatives.
If you build it, it will happen. So just because you launch an AI model, value happens. No, you need to be very deliberate about it.
One metric, a metric every leader should track.
Cost per successful outcome, because you need to be able to track the cost of AI. That's the hot topic now. Token usage is going up, cost per token is going up. So we need to have a successful outcome and understand the cost associated with it.
Okay, so not the cost of tokens, but cost associated
outcome.
with successful outcomes. Okay, all right. One mistake that companies make while they are measuring ROI. with respect to AI initiatives?
I think it kind of goes back what I was mentioning with the 3 layers. It's measuring the tool and not the outcome or the workflow.
Sure. And one signal that AI investments are worth of more scale or maybe replicate across the organizations.
This is probably the same if you're either building something for in-house internal use or for external, is that if you stop promoting it or stop asking or telling people to use it, if they still keep gravitating towards it, that's probably a sign that you're onto something.
Okay. And one prediction for the future of AI investments. What do you think will happen?
It's not necessarily about the most pilots or demos you can come up with. It's really about how well you embed AI into your processes, whether that's customer facing or internally facing.
Wow, outstanding answers. They were spot on. So thank you so much. It was a fantastic conversation and thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. And thank you everyone for listening. If you find this discussion helpful, share this episode with your colleagues, with your network, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you.